Libra, dear soul of balance and beauty. What if I told you that a powerful man is about to relocate your entire life, not because you asked for it, but because heaven saw something in you no one else did? Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. This is not just another horoscope reading. This is a sacred message, tailored just for you because something you did in silence has created a ripple so profound, the universe could no longer ignore it. And now, a man of wealth, influence, and quiet observation is being spiritually directed to move you physically or energetically into a space where your soul can finally expand. Not to rescue you, but to reward you. Because Libra, you did something when no one was watching. You gave. You stood in integrity. You acted with grace when grace was not returned. And that silent act of truth is now echoing back to you through divine intervention. So let's pause for a moment together. Take a deep breath. Feel that? That's not coincidence. That's alignment. That's timing. That's confirmation that your energy has arrived at the right place, at the exact moment it needed to. You see, this video didn't show up by chance. Whether it appeared on your homepage, in your notifications, or while you were searching for something else entirely, know this: you were pulled here by a force greater than logic. You were called here by your own frequency, and that frequency is now unlocking a door long sealed shut. Libra, if you felt stuck lately in your surroundings, your relationships, your routines, this message is your confirmation. You are about to be moved. Relocated. Not just geographically, but vibrationally. Spiritually. Emotionally. Mentally. You are being shifted into a new season of life. One that reflects the inner work you've done when no one was clapping. Now, I need to say this from my heart: thank you for being here. Your presence, your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, each one is not just support for this channel, but a sacred echo to the universe. Every action you take to engage with this space is a way of saying, yes, I'm listening. Yes, I'm ready. And that energy or energize exactly what fuels this sacred space we're building together here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. And believe me, beloved Libra, you'll want to stay with me through every moment of this message. Because what the universe is revealing today is beyond anything you've expected. It's personal. It's prophetic. And it has the power to shift the trajectory of your entire journey starting now. But before we go any further, I want you to pause, ground yourself, and then do something very intentional. Comment the number 777 below to affirm this message is for you. Not just for someone else. Not for the collective. For you. Let this be your sacred yes to the next chapter you've quietly prepared for. Now tell me, Libra, what did you do so silently, so purely that heaven decided you should never stay where you've been another moment longer? Let's find out. Stay close. Stay open. Let's begin. Sometimes the smallest, quietest act is the one that shifts the heavens. You may not remember the exact moment it happened. Maybe it was a day like any other, and you did something so seemingly ordinary, it didn't even register as significant. You offered your time, your presence, your words, or your compassion not for recognition, not for reward, but because something inside you said, this is what's right. You chose kindness when no one was watching. You chose stillness instead of reaction. You chose to believe in goodness even when it cost you your pride. That moment, Libra, was not forgotten. Energy never disappears. It circulates, expands, and returns in divine timing. In the language of astrology and energetic law, every choice we make emits a frequency. Some are loud and fleeting, born of ego or urgency. Others, the quieter ones, echo into the spiritual realm like whispers of light. And when that light is consistent, when it is born from love, from truth, and from intention, it becomes a signal. A beacon. And someone, somewhere, always receives that signal. This is not just energetic theory, it's the blueprint of the law of reciprocity. In spiritual healing, we understand that unacknowledged acts of goodness become stored blessings. They do not dissolve. They incubate in the field of universal consciousness, waiting for the right alignment, the moment when soul, circumstance, and higher guidance converge. What's happening now in your life? This unexpected shift, this incoming benefactor, this strange sense that something greater is happening, is not luck. It is return. You see, the universe never pays you back in the same currency you gave. You may have offered comfort, and now abundance finds you. You may have stayed quiet in the face of injustice, and now someone speaks for you. You may have chosen the harder path, and now a door swings open that leads you out of the storm. The harvest rarely looks like the seed, but make no mistake, Libra, you are now stepping into a harvest season. Imagine yourself, just for a moment, as someone who lit a candle in a dark room no one dared enter. You didn't announce it. You didn't ask who was watching. You simply let it burn. And now, long after you forgot about it, someone has seen that flicker of light, and they are being drawn toward you with purpose. In Christian self-reflection, there's a gentle teaching: do not grow weary of doing good, for in due season, you will reap if you do not give up. This isn't just spiritual encouragement, it's energetic law. The problem is, in the fast pace of modern life, we're taught to measure results quickly. But soul work doesn't follow linear time. It follows divine alignment. And so, when this wealthy man, this symbolic or literal figure, begins to appear, perhaps in the form of opportunity, or provision, or elevation, it may feel surreal. You may wonder, why now? The answer is simple: because now is when you're ready to hold what you've earned. You were not being punished in the silence. You were being prepared in it. And the universe waited until the soil of your life could support the size of the tree it had in store for you. You didn't need to prove anything to anyone. You just needed to remain faithful to who you are. Let that reminder settle deep. Let it replace the old narratives of "no one notices" or "good people finish last." Because Libra, the truth is, your soul has been seen. And what you did in silence was so powerful, so precise, that it is now shaping the next chapter of your life with grace, with magnitude, and with timing that only the stars could have designed. It might be tempting to see this moment as something happening to you, a disruption, a shake-up, a sudden shift from comfort. But what if we looked at it differently? What if this relocation, whether literal or symbolic, isn't a detour, but a divine promotion? Libra, I know your heart. You value peace, balance, beauty, and belonging. You tend to stay where things feel harmonious, even if, deep down, that harmony has been forced. Even if your soul has been quietly asking for more. The truth is, you've outgrown the space you've been in, not because you're broken, but because you're becoming whole. And now, the universe is responding not with chaos, but with precision. You're not being removed. You're being repositioned. You're not being pushed away from something. You're being elevated towards something far more aligned with who you truly are. Astrologically, this is a calling moment. Transits around your sun sign suggest a movement in your energetic field, especially around relationships, vocation, and inner clarity. The scales you're known for are not just about choosing between two things, theory about calibrating truth. And right now, your inner compass has pointed to a new north. That's why the shift is happening. Not because you failed, but because you're finally resonating at a frequency that no longer matches where you've been. And so, the current of life is redirecting you. Not as a punishment, but as a graduation. In tarot, this phase reflects a trinity of energies. The chariot urges you forward with momentum and determination. The star reminds you that your journey is guided by a light greater than fear. And judgment signals a spiritual awakening, an invitation to rise, to be seen for who you are becoming, not who you've been. When these cards appear together, they often mark a timeline shift, when the physical world must adjust to mirror an internal transformation that's already taken place. You might notice that things around you begin to feel unfamiliar, your routines no longer comfort you, your surroundings begin to feel too small, and people may start treating you differently. These are signs, not red flags. They indicate that your vibration is changing, and your external life is simply catching up. It's not about escaping. It's about expanding. It's about claiming the version of your life that your past self only dreamed of. Practically speaking, this is a beautiful time to mirror that energetic shift in your physical space. Rearrange your workspace to better support your focus and flow. Move your bed or your favorite chair to a new corner of the room. Clean out drawers, closets, or digital files. These simple acts of order send a clear message to your subconscious: I am ready for what's next. I make room for the life that's already arriving. If you're a believer in daily faith-based living, think of this like preparing your table before the miracle arrives. Just as we water the soil before the first sprout appears, we adjust our environment to welcome what's on its way. You don't have to know what the blessing looks like yet. You just need to behave as if you believe it's coming. That's not pretending. That's faith in action. So don't fear the movement. Don't resist the pull. You are not being tossed by a storm, you are being steered by a higher wind. This isn't relocation in the way the world defines it. This is energetic ascension. You've proven your inner balance. And now, you're being placed somewhere that can honor the fullness of your becoming. Let the shift happen, Libra. You're not being taken, you're being trusted. You may have wondered at times, perhaps in your quietest and most private moments, whether being kind was truly worth it. Whether offering your heart, your patience, your grace, especially when no one seemed to notice, made any real difference. The world has a way of making kindness feel invisible. But in the realm of energy, nothing you give in love ever vanishes. It becomes part of your frequency. And Libra, your frequency is one that cannot be duplicated. Each soul emits a unique vibration, like a spiritual fingerprint. Some resonate with intensity, others with wisdom, some with fire. But yours, dear Libra, hums with quiet elegance. It vibrates with fairness, with beauty, and with gentle truth. You are ruled by Venus, not just the planet of romance and luxury, but the planet of harmony, diplomacy, and soul-level connection. This means your very essence is tied to the energy of restoration, of grace, of healing. That's why, even in moments when you feel small, the universe feels you in a very big way. Energetically speaking, the law of attraction is not just a tool, it's a universal law that responds to your alignment. Like attracts like is not about being perfect. It's about being clear. And you, Libra, have stayed clear even in the face of confusion. Your heart remained open when others shut down. You offered peace when conflict was easier. You listened when silence would have been more convenient. And so, the vibration you've been sending out into the world over weeks, months, maybe even years is finally reaching its point of return. This is why someone of influence is being drawn to you now. The wealthy man in this reading may be a literal person, or a symbol of a larger opportunity, but either way, his arrival is not random. He's responding to the energetic signal you've been radiating all along. It's not about charm. It's not about status. It's about soul recognition. His spirit is being moved by the same current of integrity and compassion that you've been anchored in, and now, the threads of fate are pulling the two of you into a shared frequency. Astrologically, Venus is in a position that favors elevation for Libra, especially in the realm of relationships and material manifestations. This isn't just about romance. It's about people who truly see your value stepping forward. You may notice this in conversations that feel aligned, in invitations that come out of nowhere, or in partnerships that feel like they've been waiting in the wings for just this moment. These are not accidents. These are activations. If you've ever been hurt for choosing kindness, now is the moment to reclaim it. To realize that the universe was never punishing you for being soft, it was preparing you to be trusted with something greater. That man, that opportunity, that shift, it's responding to your softness, not in spite of it. You were never meant to harden to survive. You were meant to hold the line of grace until the world was ready to match it. So if your heart is stirring right now, if something in you feels recognized by these words, then don't dismiss it. It's a sign. And if you've ever whispered to yourself, maybe it's time I stopped caring so much, let this be your reminder. You don't need to stop caring. You just needed to reach the moment when caring would finally start carrying you forward. Go ahead and affirm it aloud, or better yet, write it below. I still believe in light. Let the universe see you, Libra, as clearly as it always has. And let this be the moment that your kindness is no longer background noise, but the very frequency that unlocks your next miracle. There are times in life when everything familiar begins to feel unfamiliar. Not because something is wrong, but because something sacred is unfolding. Libra, you may have noticed this subtle dissonance lately. The things that once brought comfort now feel strangely distant. The routines that once grounded you now feel limiting, and your own reflection may even look different. This isn't disorientation. This is transformation. You're not losing yourself, you're shedding the layers of a version that no longer fits the truth of who you're becoming. This feeling of being in between identities is not unlike the space between inhale and exhale. It's a sacred pause, one that the soul recognizes as preparation. You're standing at the threshold of a new land, not geographically, but energetically. And the fear you feel? It's the same fear that all who've been called to something greater have felt. Even the wisest leaders and prophets in history have had to leave behind the places that once defined them in order to enter into the promise meant for their next chapter. What makes this different is that your departure isn't always outward. Often, it begins with an internal departure, a shift in perspective, a change in resonance, a soft but undeniable urge to let go of what used to be enough. Astrologically, this moment for you echoes the essence of the Fool in Tarot. Not the foolishness of naivety, but the bravery of sacred beginnings. The Fool carries no baggage, just trust. He steps out with no guarantee of safety, but with a heart full of hope. And that, Libra, is the energy calling to you now. The beauty of this archetype is that it reminds us, you don't need to have it all figured out to move forward. You only need to say yes. Yes to what you feel awakening within you. Yes to the quiet whisper of more. Yes to the version of you that your past self dared to dream about. This process doesn't ask you to uproot your entire life overnight. You don't need a suitcase to relocate your soul. What it does require is a willingness to realign. To reassess what no longer resonates. To redefine the way you show up in your daily life. One of the most powerful ways to honor this inner movement is by creating intentional space for reflection. I encourage you to start small. Set aside just 10 minutes a day for the next 7 days. Open a journal and ask yourself, gently and honestly, what must I release in order to enter my promised land? Don't rush the answers. Let them emerge. You might be surprised at what surfaces, not just things or people, but patterns, beliefs, emotional attachments that no longer honor who you are becoming. In the world of energetic alignment, this act of writing isn't just journaling, it's a spiritual blueprint. You're placing your awareness on what you're willing to surrender so that space can be made for what's coming. And believe me, Libra, something is coming. You may not be able to name it yet, but you can feel its weightlessness, its possibility, its light. You're not walking away from your life, you're walking deeper into it. You're not leaving behind your identity, you're stepping into a more authentic version. So if it feels like you're no longer who you used to be, that's because you're not. And that's a miracle, not a problem. Let yourself evolve. Let yourself be led by the quiet knowing that this shift, no matter how small or subtle, is sacred. The path ahead may be unclear, but your spirit knows the way. Trust it. Let your energy lead you. Because this isn't just a relocation, it's a rebirth. What's unfolding for you now, Libra, is not just for you. And perhaps, deep in your heart, you've sensed this all along. This moment you're in, the shift, the realignment, the invitation into something bigger is part of a larger orchestration. It's not merely about personal gain or elevation. It's about purpose. And more specifically, your role as a bridge between the invisible and the visible, between wisdom and action, between the dream and the manifestation. You've spent so much of your life learning how to hold space for others, how to maintain peace even when chaos pressed in, how to listen, how to balance, how to soothe. But this new chapter asks something different of you. It asks you to step out from the background and recognize that you are not just someone who reflects harmony, you are someone who embodies divine timing. Your very presence, your frequency, is the signal that change is possible. And when others feel that resonance in you, they don't just see hope, they see proof. There is a reason why some people are chosen to go first. Not because they are better, but because they have the sensitivity, the emotional range, the spiritual resilience to carry a vibration into a space where it hasn't yet existed. This is what makes you a forerunner. Just like Ruth, who may have seemed unremarkable to many, yet ended up being positioned in exactly the right place, with the right person, at the right time, you too are being aligned with something and someone greater than your past would ever suggest. Your preparation was quiet, but your arrival will be unmistakable. In the realm of numerology, the energy of 777 often appears as a sign that the divine is near, that completeness is unfolding, and that a spiritual contract is being fulfilled. So if you've seen that number recently or if you're seeing it now, know that it's not just a coincidence. It's a cosmic confirmation that your timeline is opening. That what's ahead is not random. It's written. To move through this with intention and grace, it's important to care for your vessel, your body, your mind, your emotions, because the energy you're stepping into is different from what you've known. On a physical level, try a gentle 3-day detox, not as punishment, but as purification. Hydrate often. Give yourself full nights of sleep. Let your nervous system settle so it can receive. Financially, take this time to revisit your budget, not just from a place of scarcity or saving, but from alignment. Where do you spend energy? Where do you invest love? Money is only one current among many. In your career or creative work, try a new practice. Write down 3 ideas each day, even if they seem small or unfinished. This process unlocks intuitive flow and gives voice to the parts of you that are evolving faster than your calendar. And in love, romantic or otherwise, allow your heart to feel fully again. You don't have to protect yourself with logic. You're allowed to trust, allowed to hope, allowed to open without proof. Your inner truth knows how to protect you now. So the question I'll leave you with is this: are you ready to step into the divine plan that has been quietly forming around your name? Are you willing to believe that you were chosen not as a reward, but as a responsibility to walk through this door and light the way for others? If so, then take a breath, center yourself, and type below, "I am ready." Let that declaration be your first step into the new chapter that was always meant for you. If you've made it this far, Libra, take a moment to breathe in everything you've just received. Let it settle not just in your mind, but deep in your heart. Because this wasn't just another message. This was a mirror, held gently up to your soul, reminding you that you are not behind, not forgotten, and certainly not invisible. In fact, you are right on time. The relocation you've heard about today, whether it arrives through an actual change in your physical environment or through a profound shift within your energetic field, is not random. It is earned. It is sacred. And most of all, it is proof that the silent tests of your soul were not in vain. You passed something you didn't even know you were being tested for. And now, heaven is rearranging the pieces of your life to reflect that quiet victory. Maybe you're still unsure of what exactly is coming next. Maybe part of you is afraid of letting go of the familiar, of the routines that gave you a sense of control. But ask yourself gently, what if the unknown is safer than you thought? What if the unfamiliar path is where your light will shine brightest? What if this entire shift is not happening to you but happening through you? Sometimes the most powerful change begins when we honor a small symbolic act. So today, consider choosing one object to represent your transformation: a small crystal, a vintage key, even a line of scripture or a quote that holds meaning for you. Let it sit on your desk, by your bed, or in your pocket. Let it remind you that your journey is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you've always been beneath the noise. The light you carry is not accidental. It was placed within you for moments just like this. So let me ask you, are you ready to stop shrinking in spaces you've outgrown? Are you ready to stop asking for permission to become everything God, the universe, and your soul already said yes to? Are you willing to walk through this open door even if your hands are shaking? If your answer is yes, then write it below. Claim your energy. Declare it out loud or in the comments by saying, I am ready, or simply typing 777 to affirm that this message has found the one it was meant for. Before you go, I want to thank you from the deepest part of my being. Your presence here means more than you know. Every like, every comment, every new subscription is not just support, it's a sacred link in this growing constellation of awakened souls. You are a part of something bigger now. And your presence fuels this mission to bring healing, clarity, and cosmic direction to all who are seeking. So if this message touched something real inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone whose heart might be quietly calling for a sign. Subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot so you never miss another transmission that speaks to the truth you're living. And if you're walking into this next chapter with even the smallest spark of courage, know this: you do not walk alone. You are being guided, carried, elevated, and covered in grace you may not fully understand yet, but that will reveal itself in every step you take from here. And now, if you feel led, whisper this prayer into your own spirit. God, if you are moving my life, then give me the courage not to resist the grace that's already on the way. Let that be your compass. And let this be the moment you no longer wait for your light to be discovered, because Libra, you were never meant to dim in the first place.